Alright guys, Jason Manhunter back. We're going to hit up lane 2 on the map today. Just a quick refresher on my background. I am a global launch player and free to play. So what that means for you is everybody can kind of do what I'm showing you here, as far as making a team and being able to go all the way through each lane without any assist. So let's get started with lane 2, node 1. Basic team, you're going to want Night Nurse. You have to have Night Nurse on your squad. She's an amazing healer and really the only way you can make it through any lane without switching teams and mixing everything up. Another one that I say you have to have is Quake. We'll talk about more of that in a second. So for the first node, you're going to want to take out Nebula first. And then right after Nebula, go after the Ravager Boomer. Third one in the kill order is going to be the Kree Oracle. And then finish off with the other two. It doesn't matter what order on those guys. So for the reason you want to have Quake in your team is her slow. She's good damage. She's got the buff removal. And she's got a good AoE with offense down. But the slow is the most important thing. If you can slow the team, you're getting off way more attacks, you're taking less damage. It's one of the best abilities in the entire game. So this is a 2-part node. The second wave goes straight for Gamora. After that, I would hit up the Kree Oracle again. And then you can kind of finish off the other 3 in any order you want. I generally leave Groot for last because, again, he doesn't do much damage and he gives your team even more chance to build up your ability energy and heal up. So yeah, that's one of the major things that I really push for in the raids. A lot of people I hear try to go straight after the healers to prevent them from being able to heal up the other team, and so you quicken the fight. But that's not what you want to do. In every raid, you want to make the fight last as long as possible, as long as you're not going past the 5 minutes. The reason for that is you're then able to have more attacks without taking much damage, or any, by leaving the healers and the tanks last because they don't do much damage. So you can take that time to heal up your team, to build your ability energy back up, and just be ready for the next node at full power. So what I would recommend doing in the first 2 nodes, generally you'll, like if you have extra players, like especially Crossbones, you're going to want to build up their ability energy to prepare for the boss fight. So I didn't do that. This entire lane, I just went with the exact same team all the way through. It's more of a single target team. It doesn't have as much AoE, but it goes to show that you can do it with a single target team. Like if you don't have Crossbones because you think he's useless, Matter 79, and maybe you love Gamora, you can do this stuff with those single target DPSers. For this node, go after Yondu first, then Gamora. Probably the Kree Reaper would be my next on the kill order. Then Nebula and Star-Lord. And the Kree Noble doesn't do much damage, again, save the healers for last. And that's going to be your best bet through making through that node best. So yeah, build up your energy so that when you get to the boss nodes, like this upcoming one, you can send off your ultimate with Crossbones, do the ultimate explosion, and pretty much destroy the team immediately without having to build his energy up in that fight. Like I said, I didn't do that this lane. You don't really need to in this lane. It's definitely beneficial in lane 6 and 7, but in lane 2 it's not as big a deal. And really, most of the other lanes, you don't need to. And like I said, you can do any lane, any node with a good team, whether it's single target or an AoE team. The Ronin fight here, really not that difficult. Ronin's a pushover. Save him for last. Take out Yondu first. After Yondu, I would probably go for the Kree Reaper, then Nebula, then Korath. I don't know that it would really matter much because he's at that point he's already gotten his heal block off, which is his main annoyance. It prevents you from being able to use Night Nurse's ability at all times, you know. So get him off the field before he's able to use it twice. And then I would say finish off with Star-Lord, then go for Ronin or the Kree Royal Guard. It doesn't really matter at that point. Those two guys are not doing a whole lot of damage. They're not messing with you too much. The only thing that may be an issue with Ronin is that he does an ability block with his AoE. And if you have low health on anybody, like I have Night Nurse right now, and you're not able to heal up because you got ability blocked, that can kind of hurt a little bit. But otherwise, this boss fight, not that difficult. And you'll actually see that in node 7 of this lane, it's the exact same fight. It's just not labeled as a boss node. But it's the exact same setup. The same, Ronin, Korath. It is an exact replica. So just figure out how you want to do this fight. That's my recommendation, though, is Yondu first, then the Kree Reaper, then Nebula. And most of the rest of them don't really hurt as much, so you can survive. But the node after that, the boss fight after that, is almost entirely Kree, and that can hurt a lot. So that one would be the one you prepare Crossbones for to just explode in their face. So right now we're moving on to node 4, which, starting at the boss fight there, node 1 links up with lane 1 links up with lane 2. So either lane can kind of take these guys on, and depending upon how good your teams are and how much depth there is, you may need to coordinate who's doing which nodes, and based on who can handle the AoE or the damage in various aspects. So on this node, definitely want to take out Yondu or Gamora first. Because of this 4-pack right here, and me being able to summon Yondu, or Yondu's minions, I can take out 4 minions basically all at once there, or close to it, because Quake's main ability has an adjacent attack, as does Yondu's Ravager Boomer that's summoned. So if you get lucky enough to summon, say, 2 Ravager Boomers and Quake, you can probably take out all 4 of those guys minus Drax just doing that. But yeah, definitely hit Yondu and Gamora first, then take out the rest of the attackers and save the Kree Royal Guard and Drax for last. It'll give you a chance to build your strength back up, getting ready for the next node. So that's another thing. After boss fights, you're generally going to be spending the next node or two, which are significantly easier than the boss fights most of the time, building up your energy again. Like, you're going to be doing single target attacks, just using your main ability, not taking a whole lot of damage, and just killing people that way. And like I said, as you notice, I haven't changed my team at all, making it all the way through this. You can do that. Like I said, again, this is a global launch, free-to-play team. Nothing crazy. If you focus on the right characters and know how to handle them and use them, you can handle the 50 raid very easily. Alright, this is another 2-wave node. You're going to want to go after the Kree Reaper first, then probably Thor, and finish with Korath. Although you could finish off Korath a lot easier than the other two, so depending upon how you're feeling, might do that. Especially if you didn't slow him first. But really doesn't matter. You're not going to be taking a whole lot of damage from these guys. The Kree Reaper's the most damaging, and as long as Thor doesn't get to his AoE, you're not going to take a whole lot of damage from him either. So just try and make sure you get the Kree Reaper slowed, because you don't want to get more than one hit from her. Now this team, there's 2 big threats, Gamora and Rocket. I consider Rocket the bigger threat because he has a huge AoE, and even his single target does a lot of damage. So get rid of Rocket, then take out Gamora. And Gamora can be very deadly, but as long as everybody's mostly at full health, she's not going to take anybody out. Rocket can wreck a team. Then finish off by going after Gamora. And this is why I like Hawkeye, because he can see through their little dodge ability and kill them anyways. Plus, he's got huge utility with being able to take off 3 buffs from the target and adjacent targets. That's a ton of buff removal. But yeah, once you've killed Nebula, go after Star-Lord and finish with Drax. One of the things I would definitely recommend not doing is wasting Hawkeye's buff removal on Drax when he's got just his single taunt. You can go for it when he does his regular taunt and gets the shield and the counter with it. But when he starts with his main little free taunt, it's a waste. Just like this guy, don't waste it on that. You can, especially if you have Yondu, you can remove it with his single whistle. So on this one, there's 3 guys you got to worry about here: the Kree Reaper, the Kree Cyborg, which is on the far left, looks a lot like the Kree Royal Guard. They both have that same stupid helmet. But the Kree Cyborg does not have the cape. So if you start looking at that, notice, go after the Cyborg. If you see no cape, kill that thing. And then Ultron. Ultron's the squishiest, but he also does the least amount of damage of the 3 attackers. So whether you want to go after him first, that's fine. Get one out of the way really quickly. After you finish those, go after the Kree Oracle, and then finish with the Kree Noble and the Royal Guard. You'll see a lot of these. I'm not doing what I recommend doing, so just pay attention to the words, not the videos as much. Every one of these I did without having done this lane before. It was my first time doing the lane, and I just kind of went in not knowing what I was looking for, and I didn't really figure out the strategies and who to attack best until later. I started thinking, let's get rid of these guys first instead of others. But here's the one, Beaten and Bruised. It's the exact same fight as the Ronin boss node. So, not even going to talk about it. You guys know exactly what to do. I mentioned it earlier. So you guys have seen my team. I also mentioned Crossbones. Everybody knows Crossbones is amazing for his AoE. One of the things, a lot of people talk about how his taunting is useless. And it really is, because you don't want him to take damage. But it's really good when you've gotten down all the attackers and he's already hurt himself with his explosion. You can use that as part of his heal to get back up when it's just tanks and heals left out on the field. Again, you're not going to be taking much damage anyways. Might as well use his own ability to heal himself up. So some of the other recommendations, if you didn't want to go after Cap, or if it's too hard to get at this point, you can definitely do Drax. Drax is a great addition as a tank. If you are here for the Thanos event and you manage to get him, Thanos is also a good tank. And Kingpin does great with his defense up and offense up across the board. Plus he summons minions, which, I mean, let the minions die. That's a hit that one of your main characters is not taking. So he's really good. Like I said, I've got Hawkeye and Yondu. Definitely recommend those. If you happen to have Black Widow, she's amazing in the fights too. Rocket and Iron Man, both great damage dealers. AoE at that. Thor is very good. Wolverine and Gamora, great single target attackers. Wolverine slower. He's very slow. But he's got a high survival. He's got some ability to heal himself up. Gamora is like a glass cannon. You really have to protect her, but she can do some amazing damage. Like I said, if you focus your single target attacks, if you've got a single target team rather than some of the AoE that I have, you can still manage these nodes with a fair amount of ease. Just got to make sure you're attacking the right people. So on the left side, you don't need him quite as much, but Doctor Strange is fantastic on the right side of the map because he's like a beast against Nick Fury. When he does all those buff ups, you can take all those away and turn them into negative effects, or at least a lot of them into negative effects. And then another one is Jessica Jones. She's more of a utility. She doesn't do a lot of damage, but the ability to give energy to your team, that's part of why I love Cap so much, is fantastic. And she's also got buff removal on the other team. So here's the node I was talking about. This is one where it's great to have a huge AoE. If Crossbones can come in and just kill them all with, between Crossbones, Quake's AoE and Yondu's AoE, you can probably kill the entire squad in just those 3 shots. But that's a lot of Kree Reapers and one Kree Cyborg that are just decimating teams. Almost took out my captain down to like a quarter health from one round of attacks. So one of the other things I would recommend is, I did not use Quake's slow ability at first. I just went with her AoE. It's way more important to use her slow at the start of a fight, or as often as you slow as many people as you can. That's better than your AoE damage, which gives a little bit of offense down to, I think 3 to 5 people. But if you can slow them, they're doing less attacks. Less people are taking damage. Look how badly my team is getting beaten up by this, because I didn't slow them. And you can slow all 4 Kree Reapers at once if you target the Ravager healer, the Ravager Stitcher. So obviously this one, go after the Kree Reapers, especially if you can get them all with adjacent attacks and AoE, like Quakes and the Ravager Boomer, you can pretty much take them out pretty quickly. And then the other one is the Kree Cyborg. Take him out. Then take out the Kree Oracle. You're left with the remaining two. They're not doing too much damage. Don't have to worry about it. So that's it for lane 2. Best of luck to you guys. Hope you keep progressing. And lane 3 will be coming up soon with the big Groot boss fight. Have a good one.